Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show weekly podcast with me, Sam. By the way, we are back again with episode 21 of the season. And this episode is once again brought to you by our partners, Moonrise Sports. In this episode, we'll be taking a bumper look at the PWR final ahead of the game next Saturday, the 22nd. We'll be speaking to Mo Hunt, Sean Lynn, Abbie Ward, Dave Ward, the captains and coaches from both finalists, and we'll also have another segment of Moonrise 5 this week with Saracens Tory Sellers. Before we get into this episode, make sure you check us out across all social media and also check out Moonrise Sports across social media as well. Let's get into this one. So, Linny, just first of all, obviously a few days out from the semi-win, just kind of how do you reflect on it, watching it back after a few days?
Yeah, I've watched it back and, very impressed. I think the messages that we went into that game, it was really pleasing that not only are we giving the messages, but the players are reactive. And I think that's probably one of the most pleasing things as a coach is when you're giving the messages and everything that we were saying, they took on board and they achieved it.
Obviously, kind of looking at Bristol, I don't know how much you kind of watched of their game against Saracens, but just kind of how impressed were you with them to kind of get that win over the line and get that away semi-final win? Who do you kind of off the back of the league?
Oh, definitely. I think when you play in a side like Saracens, going in at 14-5 half time and come away with a win there was a great achievement, and for how threatening that Bristol Bears can be. So full credit to them.
And obviously, they're the only side to kind of prevent you from getting a try bonus point in a game this season. Just how wary of their kind of defensive threat and their defensive line are you kind of heading into the final?
Yeah, very wary. They're a good side. I think we're probably more wary about what they do with ball in hand. So that'll be a big thing for us, and it's something that we've been looking at. But the defensive set is very good.
And just kind of how important do you think the experience of the final last year and kind of the whole occasion round a Premiership final will be kind of heading into the game, kind of given that most of the squad will have played in last year's final?
Yeah, look, it's only going to help, isn't it, having that experience playing in the final already. You look at the Bristol Bears team, they've got a lot of girls who have played in big games there as well. So I do think it'll just be having those senior players for us, making sure that some of the youngsters who didn't play in the PWR final, but some of those girls have played in the final. I just think the key part is making sure that you can capture those momentums and grow with it.
And obviously, the game at the semi-final at Kingsholm, the support from not just the fans, but also from the men's side of the team, obviously, Lewis Ludlow, Mark Atkinson there, Ed Slater, just how special is it kind of working at Gloucester and kind of coaching in the town that loves rugby so much?
It's incredible. I might have said I think it was a bit of a fairy tale come true last year when you play in your final in your home ground and having it in front of 10,000. But look, I think Lewis Ludlow, Ed Slater, Abbie they've just been incredible, and I think it helps having someone like Mike Tyndall, who's an ambassador for Gloucester-Hartpury. So you just talk about how four of those are true legends in the Gloucester men's game is amazing.
And just obviously a fair few fans from both sides seem to be heading down the close proximity, a West Country derby, still in the West Country in a final. Just how special of a day is next Saturday going to be, do you think?
That's huge. I think you look at it. It was when I was at Gloucester-Hartpury, started 4 years ago. It was all about the London clubs, the Harlequins, the Saracens. Wasps were up there as well, but you look at the semi-final, three of those were in the West Country, and two West Country teams going into the final at Sandy Park in the West Country. So very special.
Perfect. So, Linny, thank you so much for taking the time today. Just best of luck for next Saturday.
Thank you, Sam. Awesome.
Thank you. So, Abbie, just first of all, 5 days out since the win at StoneX, just kind of how do you reflect on the game a few days on?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great win for us to have a team to win an away semi, and I think you could see from the interviews about how much it meant to the squad. If you've seen the interview of Roe Marston, and if you haven't, go and watch it because it's amazing. So yeah, I think the atmosphere there was electric. That being said, we're quick to move on. That was a semi, and we want to go and win a final, and that wasn't our final. So yeah, we reflected, we've enjoyed it, we've taken confidence from it, but it's now all eyes to Gloucester. And I think, you know, knockout rugby, all the games up to now, they don't matter. It's about the game on the day.
And obviously you were the first team to kind of win an away semi-final. Just how much pride is to taking that, especially as a captain as well?
Yeah, a lot of pride. And you say as a captain and as a co-captain, but I'm very lucky that there's a lot of experienced players around me. There's a lot of players that actually I don't need to do too much on the day because they've got that experience and they kind of all lead themselves. I'm lucky to be surrounded by so many leaders within their own right. So yeah, hugely proud for the club. But yeah, like I said, be even more proud of Premiership.
And obviously you mentioned Roe Marston-Mulhern before. Just how important is someone like her to this Bristol Bears side? Obviously, she has been capped before, but there's so many current internationals through the team. Just how important is she to the side?
Yeah, she's hugely important. She is Bristol through and through. She is the epitome of a Bristol Bear. And I think as a player, she's an unbelievable player. She gives us so much go forward, which you could probably see from her interview. And I think it's really good to have that. I spoke about it earlier, that melting pot that we seem to have at Bristol at the minute, with internationals, with homegrown players, with the players coming through, the likes of Wren, with, you know, the younger players coming through, your different nations, and I think Roe, you know, really adds to that. And I think it's really important to have that combination so that you can pull whatever you need at any time, and whether that's you need a youngster to come and add some energy, or you need someone with an experienced head on who's been there, who's done that on the international stage, then you can pull that in. And it's about, you know, all adding into what is, I think, just an incredible team to be part of. And yes, I love every minute playing and training with the girls.
And obviously, West Country Derby finals quite close to Sandy Park as well. Just plenty of fans from both teams going to be coming down. Just how special of an occasion is next Saturday going to be?
Yeah, in case of rugby in the southwest, and you talk about like the Gloucester fans will be there, the Bristol fans will be there. I think there'll be plenty of Exeter fans there as well, because they love rugby. So how great would it be if we could sell it out, if we could have a full Sandy Park rocking, celebrating the very best of women's rugby.
And just finally, just kind of how wary are you of the kind of Gloucester threats? Obviously, you play with so many of them in England, like Zoe Allcroft from the line out, something you're so familiar with. Just how wary of you are their threats?
They're such a clinical team. They've shown that all season. They've been very consistent with that. You know, we're in a kind of a funny dynamic in that we know their threats so well. Like, a lot of us play with them, train with them on the international stage, both English and Welsh. So yeah, I think both sides will know each other, know our opposite numbers kind of inside and out. But yeah, Gloucester have had an unbelievable season. They've only been beaten once. Like, what a challenge that is going to be on the final. But yeah, form throughout the season is amazing, but it's form in the knockouts which is more important.
Perfect. Cheers, Abbie. Thank you, and best of luck for next Saturday.
Cheers. Thank you.
So, Tori, thank you so much for chatting to us today. Just obviously, you're one of the Moonrise athletes on the Moonrise platform. They're one of our sponsors this year. So, just first of all, can you just talk us through why you are on the Moonrise platform?
Just to open up the game a little bit more and give other players an opportunity to share their experiences, like tips and tricks within the game, like what's helped me, what's helped other people, and just kind of share that and grow the game as much as we can. So that's my reasoning behind it.
And obviously, this segment of the podcast is the Moonrise 5, or I ask 5 kind of random questions to one of the athletes on the platform. So, first of those questions is, who would you pick on a Sevens team of players that you played with, and give us a little reason as to why?
Jade Sheckles, definitely, because I think she's a class player and just class human as well. So obviously we've been at Worcester together, and she's a good friend of mine.
And shining on the Seven Circuit as well at the moment.
Yeah, she's tearing it up at the moment. So
Yeah. And the next question is kind of what's the best karaoke performance or first song performance, kind of song on the bus you've heard within rugby, and who was it by?
Somebody Flo Long on the bus loves a good sing song. So does Alex Callender, loves a song. But back in my Hartpury days, somebody who was really good was Daisy Smith. Was a really, really good singer.
What's your go-to karaoke song? Do you have one?
My go-to karaoke song is a bit of an a cappella style, Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson.
Nice.
Love it.
Next question is, what's the first thing you eat on game day? So what's your game day breakfast?
Usually involves porridge, or like overnight oats with a bit of honey, bit of like blueberries or banana on top. So yeah.
And sticking on the food theme for the next question, what's your favourite cheat meal?
My favourite cheat one, I love a Tesco's meal deal. It's got to be said. I do love a Tesco's meal deal or just a good pizza, to be honest.
What are you picking in your meal deal?
Oh,
that's a big question.
That's a really big question. So it depends on the day. I do quite like some sushi. So bit of sushi. Maybe a grenade bar because got to stay a little bit healthy, or maybe a chocolate bar if we're pushing the boat out. And then a smoothie or a coffee.
They do the little sushi is the side as well, so you can get a sandwich and a side of sushi.
Yeah.
Nice tip. And just the final question, before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your day, just what's the thing that's made you laugh the most or made other people laugh the most around you on the rugby pitch?
So there was one time where I went to get a highball and I lost it in the light. So I just closed my eyes and hoped for the best. It came down so fast and clunked me right on the chin, and I went down like cold. Down, like literally concussed straight away, got back up, but was not. So it's funny to look back on now being concussed by a rugby ball, but wasn't good at the time, but quite funny.
Yeah, one you can look back on in there.
Yeah, you can look back and laugh now.
So Tori, thank you so much for chatting to us today. Best of luck for the rest of the season, and thanks for chatting to us.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
So just first of all, Dave, just obviously Sunday was a huge occasion for Bristol. Just how are your emotions at full time? Obviously, you could see on the telly, you looked like he was coming out in quite happy emotions.
Yeah, I think a few people are asking me if I was crying. I'm not sure I quite got to that level, but like definitely just incredibly proud of the girls, I suppose. A lot of hard work went into that semi-final, and yeah, to get there, and even with 8 points up, with a minute to go, I couldn't still believe it until Alex blew the final whistle. So yeah, it's great. We celebrated, we enjoyed it, and then we kind of like realised that we've got a final to plan for.
And obviously, you became kind of the first team in the league to win in away semi-finals. How much pride do you kind of take in being that achievement?
Yeah, a massive amount. I think that, like a lot of people wrote us off before the game, and with the way Saracens were playing, I think that they've won 14 in a row at home. I think it was as well. So that it was a huge statement from us, but I also think it was a lot of credit to the girls for the work they put in all season. That's not just a combination of one game; that's a combination of a squad of 7 players right away week in, week out. And I think we did that again that week leading up to it. So yeah, massive sense of pride, but also a massive sense of like, what next now for Bristol? Like now we've proved we can do that.
And just kind of looking at some of the individuals and performances, and obviously Rowan Marston-Mulhern got player of the match, but the front row kind of going a full 80 minutes between them. All of them, just how impressive was that and how important were they to the game on Sunday?
Yeah, massive. I mean, like Simi Lark, Bots were just incredible. I think Bots going at tight head for 80 minutes was just incredible. She has played tight head with us for a few weeks as well, knowing that could be, the combination. And I think, she did an amazing job. And we were like, and it was one of those where we wanted to get the bench on because we've got some quality players on the bench, but we kind of didn't also because the girls on there were still doing it, and the front row kind of, the natural change around that 60-minute mark. However, they were still putting in the hits. They were still making the carries, and luck was still scoring tries. So, you know, in that respect, we kind of just left them on.
And just how, obviously, Renika Bonner bounced back from the yellow card score, the match winner. Just how impressive has she kind of been this season? Kind of a breakthrough season into the first team in the Premier at least.
Yeah, I think that Ren's had a meteoric rise in terms of where she was a couple of years ago in the Centre of Excellence when I first met her and first started coaching her to where she is now. And I think it's down to the work she puts in. You know, she rarely misses a training session. She's diligent with the way she preps. She sends her clips week in, week out. She wants, I suppose, the investment goes back into her, myself and Tom, because we always want to see young players who want to improve. And Ren is, you know, the epitome of that. And I think for her to get the yellow card and then you saw her face and then get the winning try was a great little storyline. But again, the girls will have seen that Ren do that week in, week out in training, and she practices it. And then when you go and perform it on a match day, I mean, it looks incredible, but actually she's done that quite a few times. And for us, for that to be the winning try was a nice story.
And just kind of looking ahead to Gloucester, just how much is it about neutralising their threat, or is the focus solely on Bears for you and the coaching staff?
Yeah, look, I'd be lying if I just told you it's completely focusing on us, because we've obviously got to understand why Gloucester have won so many games this season, and they've only lost one game by 2 points. But, you know, it's fair to say we go in as massive underdogs in this game, and you know, with the league the way it was, probably rightly so. And I think, look, we're going to have to look at Gloucester. We'll spend an amount of time on them, but it's about putting the Bears game on the park. And I think a lot of people would have seen us this season that if we do get it right and when it does click, we are at times unplayable. However, that's a few big ifs in there, and we've got to make sure, you know, like I said, on Saturday, we have more of those ifs than not.
And just how much of that kind of underdog mantra and underdog tag are you going to kind of embrace, and the players going to embrace heading into the final as well?
Yeah, it's something obviously we've talked about. I mean, look, we can embrace it or not embrace it as much as we want, but it's going to be there. I think, yeah, like it's one of those things we've kind of just got to live with it and understand why it's there, but then also understand there's only 2 teams in the final and one of them's got to come out on top, and that we've got to be determined and motivated to make sure that's us. I think we went into that Saracens game as massive underdogs as well. We proved we can do it once. Why not do it again?
And just finally, Dave, just how exciting is a West Country derby and a PWR final going to be?
Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? I mean, you know, I love the fact that the Bristol Gloucester supporters, they live near each other, they work closely, sometimes in the same offices. There's a massive amount of pride, not only in the women's game, but the us. We want to get our fans, more fans down to Sandy Park. We're a little bit closer, so it should be a little bit quicker, and we want to support, you know, the way the team played this year, and hopefully to go on and win a final. Like the fact that the Gloucester are just at the road means you can go back on Sunday night and hopefully then celebrate with one of the Gloucester supporters, or you know, commiserate hopefully with one of the Gloucester supporters.
Perfect. Cheers, Dave. Thank you. Best of luck for next Saturday.
No, cheers, Sam. Thanks, mate.
Right, cheers, Dave. Just first of all, Mo, just how's the black eye, and kind of how did it happen in the semi?
It was quite early on. I think it was about 10 minutes in, and the tackle where we basically tackle Katie Buchanan, and then Maud comes in and knocks both of us into touch, I think it was. But yeah, just caught her elbow, I think, on my eye. Little egg, and then it's just dropped into my black eye. You wouldn't know, though. I've put a lot of makeup on to try and hide it.
And just obviously, I've heard you say since the game just how nervous you felt before it. Just kind of when during the game did that disappear, or did it kind of just go from kickoff?
Yeah, I get nervous before games, but depending on like the occasion and what that game is, nerves. But as soon as I'm out there in with the girls, then that changes. Like I'm just game mode and really focused on whatever we're trying to do. So probably from the walkover, from the like having the chat with the girls in the huddle in the barn, and then as we walk over.
And obviously you were kind of so quick at the blocks against Chiefs. Just how important was that kind of getting across the line really early and kind of setting the tone for the rest of the game?
Yeah, we want to have a fast start. Like we've tried that all season, to come out the blocks firing and to try and impose ourselves on oppositions. Obviously, not always going to go your way. You're not always going to score that quickly. It was a real settler for us, I'd say, in terms of making sure that we know what we're doing and it's going to work, and we can keep going after the pictures that we've seen all week and what we're trying to do. At the same time, like you're not always going to get it that way, and then it's about finding a different way or making sure that we're true to what we're trying to do in terms of like the reasons that we haven't scored. So was that the pass? Was it the catch? Like, what is it? And breaking it all down. So it's not something that we massively take a lot of stress on. Like, it is what it is, and you've just got to find a way at the end of the day. Like, rugby is an 80-minute game, so you've got plenty of time to work it out.
And kind of looking at kind of some of the individual performances of the game, just how easy is rugby when Claky George is your fly half?
Yeah, she's pretty good, isn't she? But equally, I've been very fortunate this season that I've played 9 to Holly Aitchison's 10. So I know the quality on both sides of the ball. She is fantastic. Love seeing her grow with confidence through the season. Every year she's getting better and better. She's trying to do more and more of the skills that we see in training on pitch, and she's just a brilliant player. I don't think she knows how valuable she is to a team. I don't think she knows how good she is and how good the ceiling, like how far the ceiling is in terms of her potential. But it's been an absolute pleasure to be playing alongside her this year, for sure.
And I spoke to Lynn on Sunday after the game, kind of about the balance between those international players, but also the likes of the Hartpury players like George Brock, Millie Hyatt, Pip Hendy coming through. Just how special it's kind of have that balance and be playing alongside these players right at the start of career and kind of who are progressing so much so quickly.
Oh, it's brilliant. I think everyone, when they get opportunity, seems to get better and better. And fortunately for the girls this season, obviously they've taken their opportunity when it's come, when injuries have come to probably people that you would have seen in those shirts, maybe if they were still fit and able to play. But the girls have absolutely relished their chances. They've gone out, they've absolutely attacked it. Like, Pip Hendy has had a phenomenal season. I couldn't be prouder of the way that she's gone. She's a brilliant teammate. She's hilarious. Yeah, the girls have been fantastic, and I think that's the beauty of the pathway at Gloucester-Hartpury. Obviously, you've got the pathway there, but there's no good having a pathway if you're not going to integrate people and start using them. And I think the coaches have been fantastic. The timing of which they've pulled people in from Bucks and put them back into Bucks to get game time and to play and exposure. And yeah, you're seeing the fruits of that now. I think the girls have been unbelievable. You didn't even mention Steph Alves, which is crazy because she's right up there with all of those girls, exactly. But yeah, the girls are fantastic, and yeah, brilliant.
And just obviously last year's final, kind of the experience of that, of the occasion of kind of just playing in a final, do you think that's kind of going to help you heading into the game of the weekend?
Obviously for us it's lived experience, but a lot of the girls on the Bristol Bears side have got experiences of finals. Like, they know what it takes in knockout rugby. They've been the first team to go to an away semi-final and win. They're the first team that have beaten Saracens at the StoneX this season. So we know that they can do it in the big games as well. Really important for us that we we fall on those lived experiences, and we know what it takes. I think the one thing that the one message I'm driving all week is that we need the performance, because I think we've got more than enough if our performance is right, but we need to make sure that we're going after the performance. The result will take care of itself.
And just the final one for me, Mo, obviously the crowd was great in the semi-finals. Going to be so many Gloucester fans travelling down. The support of the men's side's been great. Just how special is it playing rugby in Gloucester, kind of a city that just loves its rugby so much?
It's amazing. Like, genuinely, I say it every time, but you can't go anywhere in Gloucester without seeing somebody with some stash on, like literally walking down the street or in shops or anything like that. Like, the city fully embraces rugby, and I love being a part of that. And what I'm enjoying even more is we're getting more and more fans like noticing the women's game, noticing Gloucester-Hartpury as a team, and making their way to come and support us. And we've got some diehard fans now. Like, my mum loves being in the shed with everyone else and hearing everyone who they love. Apparently they're all massive fans of Neve Jones, which I'm not surprised about at all. But yeah, it's brilliant. I adore the Gloucester fans. I think they're a fantastic rugby fan base, and it's an absolute pleasure to play in front of them.
Perfect. Cheers, Mo. So best of luck for next Saturday.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Women's Rugby Show Weekly podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you check out our back catalogue, and also check us out across all social media, and also Moonrise Sports across all social media as well. Next week, we'll be kind of bringing you another preview of the episode, kind of more me talking, maybe get a few more guests, someone else to preview the game from a more kind of technical perspective and kind of from both sides maybe, but more on that next week. But hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers.